Hey, this is sort of funny. Donald Trump did a press briefing over the weekend, once again at his Bedminster golf club. And much like last weekend, some of his supporters who were guests at the club were allowed to go to the briefing. And it's another example of Trump generating these sort of rally like atmospheres with friendly crowds, even though he's supposed to be seriously briefing America and the press about that thing called the coronavirus pandemic, which killed 7,000 people in the last 6 days. It's sort of like a rally atmosphere with his supporters cheering in the background. It's weird. But the crazy thing is that even the friendly crowd and the cheering couldn't make Trump look sensible. And he instantly fell apart, even in front of a friendly crowd. So let's look at some of the clips. Trump started by talking about how cases are going down despite testing, which continues to expose that Donald Trump is very, very confused about how testing relates to cases. And by the way, there were 55,000 cases the day before Trump did this press briefing. Listen to what Donald Trump had to say.
Nearly 85% of jurisdictions all across our country are reporting a very steep decline in cases. And that's despite the fact that we have the #1 testing program anywhere in the world. We're up to almost 70 million tests, far beyond any other country. This week, cases nationwide have declined by 6%.
So, of course, Trump doesn't get it. More testing reduces cases over the long term because people know they have it. They know they're contagious. They stay home. That ship has sailed. He's just not going to understand that, or he's refusing. He's at least pretending not to understand that. So then it starts to get ugly very quickly. Trump here suggests that the numbers on the virus are so good that he must win. In other words, how could a president who has such great numbers on the virus not be reelected? That's where Donald Trump's mind is.
Iran would love to have me defeated. If I win, which I hope to win, how can you not when you see numbers like this, both on the virus and on the economy? I mean, we should win. We should all be keep this incredible thing going. And I built it once and I'll build it again. I've already, I think the hardest part is done in terms of the economy. And that's with or without additional funds.
Remember that as a country, we have the 8th most cases per capita in the world. If you don't include tiny countries, which can throw off the data, the U.S. has the 6th most cases per capita in the world. In terms of deaths, we have the 10th most deaths per capita in the world. Again, if you exclude places like San Marino and Andorra, because they have tiny populations where just a few deaths per capita is very high. If you exclude those, we are 8th worst in the world in terms of per capita deaths. And Trump says, how could you not reelect a president with numbers so good? And at the end there, you might have heard Trump start to say, we're doing great with or without stimulus money. Like Trump seems to be suggesting here that the second stimulus, which is being debated right now, it may not even be necessary. Things are just fine, which just shows how disconnected he is from reality. He's asked about that specifically, and here he says it. We can do it or not do the second stimulus. Either way is fine. For him, I guess he means.
Listen to me. My people are doing very good. And my people call me. They're in the office. They call me when it's right. Nobody knows the deal better than I do. When it's right, I'll meet. But right now, it's not right. They want $1 trillion to bail out badly run states. They're Democrat. They're Democrat states. Will something happen? Possibly. But I want to tell you, the country is doing very well right now. We can live very happily with it, without it. But I'd like to do it because I want to give money to the people.
I like how Trump says we can be happy with or without another stimulus. Record unemployment, highest GDP drop on record last quarter, businesses still not functioning fully, schools closed or going remote increasingly as the virus spreads. But Trump is fine with or without a second stimulus. Good to know, right? I'm glad he's fine with it either way. Trump is then asked about polling, which doesn't look particularly good for him. And Trump is just rambling about there are lots of boaters, people with boats who like Trump and have Trump flags on their boats.
Lakes, rivers, and oceans, thousands and thousands of boats. It's called Boaters for Trump, Boaters for Trump Pence. There's signs all over. Some of the boats have 10 flags on them. They're incredible. There are thousands. We did nothing to do this. This is just generic. It just happened.
The thing is that, the white Florida boat owner demographic isn't enough to win it for Trump. He may have enough to win it. That's important. but the boaters in the intercoastal are not enough to win it for Donald Trump. And here again, Trump goes into the stuff about mail-in voting, saying we might not know the results of the November election, not for days, not for weeks, not for months. We might not know it for years.
We are going to have an election that takes place on a beautiful day, November 3rd. And usually at the end of the evening, they say, Donald Trump has won the election. Donald Trump is your new president. Whatever they say, you know what? You're not going to know this, possibly, if you really did it right, for months or for years. Because these ballots are all going to be lost. They're going to be gone. And just take a look at a smaller basis, but it's great tests. We're doing tests. I mean, these are, you could call them polls, you could call them tests. Look at what's happening all over the country where you have universal mail-in. Wait a minute. The ballots are lost. There's fraud. There's theft. It's happening all over the place. Now, we're going to do it with this whole vast, big section of the country. It's crazy.
Think about how insanely hyperbolic that is. All the ballots will be lost, and we won't know who won for years. Consider how ridiculous that is. On what planet would we not know the election results for years? And by the way, does Trump know that if that happens, he stops being president on January 20th? It's not clear that someone has actually said that to Donald Trump. And of course, realistically, if there are a lot of mail-in ballots and they have to be postmarked by Election Day, could take a few days to get counted. It might take a few days to have the final results. And if it's really close, we might not know who is going to be president in January until like November 8th. That's not the worst thing in the world. Let's get it right. In many countries, you don't know the results at midnight. We think that we should. That doesn't have to be the way it is. Then Trump is asked about birtherism 2.0, which is about Kamala Harris. Is Kamala really eligible to be president? Trump has a chance to denounce it, but he does not.
Campaign. Will you say now that Kamala Harris is eligible to run and be vice president or president based on being born in Oakland, California?
So I have nothing to do with that. I read something about it, and I will say that he is a brilliant lawyer, that I guess he wrote an article about it. So I know nothing about it, but it's not something that bothers me.
But, sir, when you do that, it creates...
Why do you say that? I just don't know about it, but it's not something that we will be pursuing. Let me put it differently.
President, you know.
Let me put it differently. Don't tell me what I know. Let me put it differently. To me, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't know about it. I read one quick article. The lawyer happens to be a brilliant lawyer, as you probably know. He wrote an article saying there could be a problem. It's not something that I'm going to be pursuing.
Is she eligible, sir?
I just told you. I have not gone into it in great detail. If she's got a problem, you would have thought that she would have been vetted. You would have thought that she would have been vetted by Sleepy Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
He's like, I don't know much about this, but the guy who wrote the article questioning whether Kamala can be VP, because to be VP, you have to be eligible to be president. That guy's brilliant. That guy's credentials are super, super good. And you'd think Joe Biden would have vetted her, but I don't know anything about that. Birtherism 2.0 is building, and it's arguably going to continue building if other strategies don't go well. Here, Trump does what I call the SIR routine. The SIR routine is, we have a name. It's crazy that we have a name. The SIR routine is when Trump retells a story of someone saying something to him that is advantageous to him. And he'll say, they came to me and they said, sir, blah, blah, blah. You can almost guarantee it didn't happen the way Trump claims it happened when he does the sir routine.
I want to say that I want college football to come back. These are strong, healthy, incredible people. These are people that want to play football very badly. A great talent quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, called me on 2 days ago. I spoke to him a couple of times. He said, sir, I want to just tell you we want it back. We want to play. And he's an incredible quarterback, as you know, from an incredible school, Clemson. And he's going to have a very good future in the NFL.
Sir, they told me, they came to me, sir, please start college football. Okay. Some quick ones here. Donald Trump still continues to refer to the 1918 flu pandemic as happening in 1917.
Do you agree with Dr. Robert Redfield, who earlier this week said if America doesn't follow public health guidelines, we could be in store for one of the worst falls we've ever faced from a public health perspective?
No, I mean, you can't compare it to 1917. That was incredible. That was the worst ever by far. That was, you look at they lost possibly 100 million people. No, I don't agree with that. But
weirdly, Trump says that some people call his own Secretary of Defense Mark Jesper as opposed to Mark Esper. Just like a very weird moment.
With your Defense Secretary, Mark Esper, do you have confidence in his leadership there?
Mark Jesper? Did you call him Jesper? Oh, okay. Some people call him Jesper. No, I get along with him. I get along with him fine. He's fine.
And then here again, it's that raucous atmosphere that Donald Trump loves. Even if it's supposed to be a serious press briefing, he actually suggests that he might fire his entire cabinet if he gets reelected. He then dissembles into rambling and walks off the stage to the applause of his club-going, mostly mask-wearing sycophants.
Go ahead.
As far as your cabinet goes, do you think you'll see more turnover in your cabinet?
Well, I don't know. I think for next year, I mean, generally speaking, a lot of times I understand if we win, President will ask for the resignation of everybody and then bring back the people he wants. That's happened before, Steve. And I could see something like that happening. I think that makes sense. No, I have a very good cabinet. I mean, with few exceptions. I wouldn't say I'm thrilled with everybody, frankly. But overall, I think we have a very good cabinet.
So can you mention?
I think I will say this. No administration, none. No administration, first 3.5 years, has done anywhere near what we've done. 300, we will have at the end of the first term, 300, maybe more, federal judges, including Court of Appeals, 2 Supreme Court justices. Nobody has done this. Take a look at what we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, rebuilt our military, took care of our vets. We have a 91% approval rating from the vets. Nobody's ever had a 91% approval rating before. I guarded the Second Amendment. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. Take a look at Kamala. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. And as you know, Joe has no control over anybody. He has no control over himself. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
That's considered, in 2020, among Trumpists, a coronavirus press briefing from the President of the United States, as if it's a serious thing. The cheering is just too much. I would love to interview the people there right after they're done cheering and Trump walks off. What made you cheer? What exactly were you cheering for? What did you hear from the president that you liked so much that made you cheer as he walked off stage? And I've said before, even in friendlier and friendlier settings, Trump is on Fox and Friends, a friendly setting, and it goes terribly. I'll talk about that later. Trump is on Hannity. It's his friend. And even Hannity can't make Trump look good. A press briefing at his own club with his supporters cheering, and he still looks like he has absolutely no idea what's going on. There is no setting friendly enough that can make Donald Trump look good at this point in time. We're going to have more coverage of this on our Instagram page, which is David Pakman Show on Instagram. You can also follow me on Instagram at david.pakman. Coming up next, so much more. Very busy day as the Democratic National Convention gets started tonight. I will be streaming starting at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are anything like me, you probably aren't thrilled with the idea of going into a doctor's office right now. And thankfully, there's a practical and affordable way to take control of your health and get personalized care from the comfort of your home. It's a service called SteadyMD. They're one of our sponsors. You take a quiz, you get matched with a licensed primary care physician who understands your health needs. You have a 1-hour video call with your new doctor. You establish a meaningful relationship with them. And after that, your doctor is available to you anytime by text, phone, or video chat. This is not a random doctor on call. Each doctor at SteadyMD has a limited number of patients, so they actually have time to listen to you. You get the personal attention that you deserve. They can do almost everything an in-person doctor can do, perform medical evaluations, talk to you about health concerns, send prescriptions to your home or local pharmacy, and anything they can't do online, they'll quickly set you up with an in-person provider to do, things like blood tests as an example. You don't need insurance. It's only $99 a month with no other fees or copays. There are so many practical advantages to using SteadyMD for primary care, and it's also so much more affordable. Go to steadymd.com/Pakman to take the free quiz, see which doctor is right for you. I took their quiz. They matched me with a doctor who specializes in my particular health needs and situation. The doctor they gave me is a really perfect fit for me and my medical needs. There's no risk, no commitment to get started. Just click the link right underneath this video.